Hello, dear ones. I want to share a story of an event that happened in our lives on our first sabbatical, and the anniversary of this adventure is coming up this week, so I thought I would share a story. We had traveled to the Middle East, and we had spent time in Egypt, and we're now in the desert of the Sinai. We were staying at St. Catherine's Monastery, a monastery and guest house that has been welcoming pilgrims since the 3rd century. We had spent the evening as a family reading Exodus, preparing for this journey up the mountain. We had been told and read in our guidebooks that the way to do this was to get up in the middle of the night and climb the mountain in the dark, arriving at the top of Mount Sinai as dawn burst across the desert. So that is what we intended to do. We dressed as if we were in the desert. We knew it was going to be chilly because it is chilly in the desert, but we had no idea how cold it was actually going to be at the top. So we began our journey up the mountain, a family of 4. Jonah was 16, Hannah was 7. Our daughter Jessie wasn't with us at that time. And we began our journey up the mountain, climbing together as a family, believing at that time that we were the first up the mountain. But as we began to climb, more and more, we were passed by people on camels that would pass us. The path was wide enough, but more and more people were passing us on camels. We kept climbing. As we climbed and climbed, slowly, the first pre-dawn light started to light our way. But just about that point, it got much colder. And there was actually ice on the path. Rob took Hannah's hand, and they walked carefully up ahead of me. And I walked, fearful of climbing a mountain on an icy path. By the time I got to the top of Mount Sinai, I was climbing on all 4. I was crawling up the mountain. I had imagined somehow what this experience was going to be like. That because we got up in the middle of the night, we would be there alone. And I wanted so badly to have a direct experience of the holy. I wanted some miraculous event. My expectations clouded my vision as we finally made it up the mountain and discovered there were 2 Korean Baptist congregations in plaid golf hats and in brightly colored, if they weren't plaid, brightly colored golf hats. Every parishioner, every pilgrim had their eyes closed as their passionate ministers preached on and on to them as we beheld the growing dawn from the height of the top of Mount Sinai. But I must confess to you that my judgment, my lack of humility, and my lack of spiritual and religious curiosity clouded my experience of that moment. I wasn't curious about their religious life. I judged them for not opening their eyes. I didn't understand the role of mediation and obedience. I didn't respect it at that time. I watched them, and it was only once their ministers gave the parishioners permission did they open their eyes and behold the dawn on top of Mount Sinai. I, too, never truly beheld the dawn on Mount Sinai because I was so full of judgment. and expectations of what that experience was supposed to be like. Now, this experience has actually stayed with me for all these years and has taught me a lot about spiritual humility and spiritual curiosity and openness. I had no right to imagine that none of these people were experiencing some spiritual opening, but I did. I judged them harshly. And in that judgment, I prevented my own openness, my own willingness to open myself up to what was occurring and to behold it in wonderment. So this month, with the theme of curiosity, I'm hoping that we can encourage one another to open ourselves up in wonderment and curiosity in everything that we encounter, because the holy is there. But do we have the eyes to see it?